You know that feeling when you're staring at a faded name on a census record or, say, looking at a sprawling family tree, and you just wonder, what if? What if you could literally bridge the centuries, step right across the boundaries of time, and stand face to face with the actual people whose blood runs in your veins? Imagine the impossible here. Imagine traveling back in time to meet your own fifth-grade grandfather. What would you even ask him? And maybe more importantly, what on earth would he ask you?
Well, let's dive right into this, because today we are exploring a truly fascinating piece of genealogical fiction by Randall J. Seaver. It's called I Dream of Westminster, 1783. In this explainer, we aren't just rattling off dates and historical facts. No, we're unpacking a vivid, deeply personal exploration of legacy, of memory, and those profound generational ties that bind us all together. So let's step into the dream, shall we?
Okay, I want you to drop right into the scene with me. It's late afternoon, September 1783. You are standing on this dirt road in Westminster, Massachusetts. The sun is casting these incredibly long, golden shadows across fields of ripening grain. You look down at your modern clothes, and they feel, frankly, absurdly out of place. The whole landscape around you is this wild mix of the deeply familiar and the utterly foreign.
The air isn't just fresh, it is pungent. It smells strongly of hay and wood smoke and, yeah, horse manure. Right in front of you sits a modest, two-story colonial farmhouse. It's got this weathered central chimney, a faded rust-red barn off to the left, and chickens just scratching around in the dirt yard. And then, suddenly, a sturdy, weathered man walks out of the barn. You instantly recognize his face from the genealogical records. It's Captain Norman Seaver. And seeing a total stranger appearing out of nowhere on his land, he instinctively reaches right for his belt knife.
But, by some twist of dream logic, the tension just breaks. Norman actually invites you inside. You step in, and the room is dim, smelling of hearth smoke and close human habitation, and honestly, it perfectly illustrates the incredibly busy, close-knit reality of a post-war family. You've got 50-year-old Sarah, the matriarch, cooking meat stew at the hearth. 20-year-old Isaac is right there, still holding on to wartime habits, meticulously cleaning and oiling a musket. The younger kids, Relief, Asahel, and little Lucinda, are mending cloth, whittling wood, or just playing. Meanwhile, Benjamin, the eldest son at 26, is just returning from the fields, absolutely covered in sweat. It is a perfect, living snapshot of colonial survival.
Section 1. Captain Norman's War. The Veteran's Perspective.
So, Norman settles you at this heavy wooden table and hands you a mug of hard cider. You've just told him the absolute impossible, that you are from the future, from his direct line. And instead of calling you crazy, this veteran of an impossible war leans in. You're sitting across from him, looking at his calloused hands, and you finally ask the time traveler's ultimate burning question, the one we all wish we could ask. What was it like? The war.
Norman's response is immediate, and it is heavy. He just looks at you and says, hard. Harder than anything before or after, I reckon. He talks about the bitter Rhode Island winters, how the cold was sometimes way worse than the fighting itself. He reflects on young, barely trained men standing their ground against professional British regulars. The sheer improbability of the American victory hangs in the air when he admits, we shouldn't have survived, but we did. God was with us, I believe that.
To really put this into perspective, you have to look at the timeline of his service. He wasn't some hot-headed 18-year-old out looking for glory. When he marched to Cambridge in 1775, he was 41 years old. He endured those brutal winters while constantly agonizing over his wife Sarah and their 13 kids, who were left to manage the farm all by themselves. And now, in 1783, he's back. He's surviving. He's building the town meeting house, and he's just trying to secure a future for his family.
But here is where the interview flips. Suddenly, your ancestor starts anxiously questioning you. Norman leans forward, studying you with this intense interest. And the crazy thing is, he doesn't ask about, flying cars or pocket computers. He asks about the survival of the great American experiment. He looks at you and says, tell me the nation survives. Tell me the Union lasts.
And then he follows it up with this heartbreakingly earnest plea. Tell me what we've built matters. I mean, just imagine the emotional weight of that moment. Looking your ancestor in the eye and getting to assure him that yes, his descendants are free. They're prosperous. They are living in ways he literally couldn't have even imagined. And it's all because of the risks he took. When you tell him this, you see this genuine wave of relief cross his face. Then it was worth it, he says.
Section 2. Benjamin's Deep Roots. The Successor's Perspective.
As the afternoon light starts to fade out, Norman's eldest son, Benjamin, catches your eye and gestures for you to follow him outside. You step away from the family, walking out toward the barn as the fields turn this deep purple in the twilight. Now, knowing that Captain Norman is a highly skilled carpenter who loves his trade, you ask Benjamin about his own path. How do you feel about farming? Is this really the life you chose?
Benjamin's answer is just incredibly grounded. He has this profound, steady connection to the earth. He tells you farming's honest work. You see the results of your labor. The crops grow or they don't. The animals thrive or they don't. He proudly mentions his new wife, Martha, and how he intends to build something right there on that exact plot of land. While his father's true gift was carpentry, Benjamin says simply, "Mine is the land."
And right here, we see a totally fascinating generational shift, one that is so common throughout history, actually. On one side, you have Norman, the father. He's restless, always looking for the next opportunity, a revolutionary risk-taker who literally helped build a nation. But on the other side, you got Benjamin, the son. He craves steadiness. He wants to put down deep roots, know his land intimately, and build up a specific community so his children have a permanent place to grow up.
But even this strong, steady guy has his doubts. In a moment of really surprising vulnerability, standing out there under the darkening sky, Benjamin turns to you, the time traveler, for reassurance about his own legacy. He asks, "Do I have children? Will I be a good father?" And getting to assure him that he absolutely will, that he'll teach his kids work ethic, integrity, and steadiness, it brings visible peace to this young veteran.
Right before you part ways, Benjamin offers up some pretty profound philosophical advice for our modern era. He tells you not to rush. While his dad chased the next big thing, Benjamin's advice is to find what actually matters: land, family, meaningful work, and tend to it carefully, because as he says, the best things grow slowly. And he leaves you with a sharp, pointed reminder. Remember why we fought the war. Don't take that for granted. Your freedom cost us something.
Section 3. The Weight of Memory. The Awakening.
By now, the stars are multiplying overhead and the night air is full of crickets and the sound of a distant brook. The magical logic of the dream is reaching its inevitable end. It's time to go back. Norman walks you to the edge of the property. He thanks you for actually caring enough about your roots to cross time itself. You thank him for the foundation, the massive sacrifice, the family. He clasps your shoulder in a firm grip and says, "Go back to your time. Live well. Remember us." That's all the immortality a man needs to be remembered.
Then, Benjamin steps out from the darkness. He doesn't even speak at first. He simply clasps your shoulder too. But this wordless, heavy grip, it feels like a powerful benediction. It is quite literally a tangible passing of responsibility in the dark, right before that 1783 farmhouse, with its glowing candlelight and busy family, just begins to dissolve into swirling stars.
As the scene completely fades out, you hear Benjamin's voice echo one last time, "Don't forget us." And with that fading plea, you jolt awake. You're back in your modern bed, in your own time, but you've got actual tears wet on your cheeks, and the visceral memory of calloused hands and the sharp smell of wood smoke is just burned into your mind.
Lying there in the dark, you come to this heavy realization about the unasked questions. It's really about the things we constantly forget to say, the deep privilege, and, honestly, the equally deep burden of genealogical memory. It's an unspoken promise we make, to express gratitude for their sacrifice, to ensure their deeds are actually remembered, and to let them know that their blood still runs in our veins, fueling the very freedoms we enjoy today.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, and I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Look, you might not be able to literally time travel to a dirt war in 1783, but their legacy lives on in you. So how are you honoring the sacrifices of your own ancestors? What stories are you actively keeping alive? And what legacy are you tending to right now for the generations that will inevitably look back at you? Thank you so much for exploring this with us, and whatever you do, never stop digging into the roots of your own story.